Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Monday, December 4, 2023. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Guyana on guard in case Venezuela acts recklessly, says President Ali. Maduro's referendum, a resounding failure, says JAGDEO, as Venezuela's opposition says 89% abstained from voting. Coast Guard intensifies search for missing fishing vessel crew. Families hopeful. Tomb raiders target grave of murdered Corentyne man, and Venezuelan charged for beheading BERBICE man. Now for the news in detail. In the wake of Venezuela's December 3 referendum, which sought a mandate to annex Essequibo, President Dr. A Finali made it clear in an interview with BBC that Guyana is taking nothing for granted and remains on guard in case the Venezuelans act in a reckless manner and in defiance of the World Court orders. Here's what he had to say.
I believe that Venezuela has a responsibility to honor the order. They have a responsibility to respect the 1899 award. And in the 1899 award, the boundaries of Guyana and Venezuela was fully settled, and that settlement was jointly agreed to by Venezuela and Guyana. For a matter of fact, Venezuela went on to enact the boundaries within the legal system and even printed stamps with the boundaries. Now, I'm concerned that Venezuela can indeed follow up their rhetoric and the narrative and act in a reckless manner. And this is concerning because already we have a dangerous situation in Venezuela where the people are suffering as a result of the type of governance, where the respect for the rule of law, where democracy and all these things are threatened. So we are concerned that a reckless and adventurous action can lead to more displacement of the Venezuelan people. That creates added regional pressures on migration and so on. So as a country, we're not taking this for granted. We're not taking a narrative out of Venezuela for granted. That is why we have been working with our neighbors, our friends, CARICOM, Commonwealth, the OS, have all issued very strong statements and call on Venezuela to respect the rule of law and respect the order of the ICJ. Our response has always been one that respects international law, one that respects the dignity of people, and one that leads to the continuation of peace within this region. That is why we went to the ICJ for provisional measures in relation to this referendum. Not to stop the referendum, because that is their business, but to have provisional measures against two questions. One, that would allow Venezuela to annex the Essequibo, and two, to allow them to establish a state. And on both these questions, the ICJ made it very clear that Venezuela is not to act upon the outcome of these two questions or upon the outcome of the referendum, and that Venezuela must respect the status quo as it exists today in Guyana, and that is Essequibo belongs to Guyana, and Guyana administering this county.
Vice President Dr. Mar Jago has described Venezuela's December 3 referendum, where they sought approval from the citizens to annex Essequibo but failed to galvanize any significant turnout of voters, as an overwhelming failure for the Nicolas Maduro government. Here is Bryan with the details.
On Sunday, the Nicolas Maduro government in Venezuela held its controversial referendum seeking approval from its citizens to annex Guyana's Essequibo territory. But despite decades of indoctrination and weeks of rhetoric from the Maduro regime, the actual vote saw a sparse turnout of voters. In fact, Vice President Dr. JAGDEO, in an interview with the BBC News from the COP28 conference in Dubai, noted that only half of eligible voters in Venezuela turned up and voted at the referendum.
So everyone in the world expected once the referendum was held that they would have a yes vote. But we believe it's a resounding failure for the Maduro government, considering only half of the total eligible voters turned out. And then of the half that turned out, not 100% voted in favor of a yes vote. So less than half of the eligible voters voted in favor of the issues, the questions posed there. So it's a defeat, we believe, for Maduro. We saw it as a distraction from the problems in Venezuela, and now we have concerns all day long. The Latin American news agencies have been pointing out that there was a low voter turnout. Then the Electoral Council announced a figure that we can't believe.
The vice president expressed the view that the actual figures released by the Venezuelan Electoral Authority may have been rigged.
So we believe that even with the rigging of the figures and turnout figures, they still didn't have half of the eligible voters on an issue that Venezuela has over the past 50 years been saying to their people that Essequibo belongs to them. So it's a predictable outcome, but the entire world is in support of Guyana on this matter. And the ICJ has made a very definitive ruling.
JAGDEO's suggestion that the vote was rigged is certainly supported by the Venezuelan opposition itself. Venezuelan authorities claim that over 10.5 million yes votes were counted, but have shied away from giving the number of voters. However, Enrique Capriles, a major figure in the Venezuelan opposition, has put the actual voter turnout at 2.1 million voters. This, he said, is an abstention of over 89% compared to the eligible voting population. In a Twitter post, Capriles, at one point imprisoned by the Nicolas Maduro regime on what was widely seen as politically instigated charges, lambasted the Venezuelan government for its resounding failures. Capriles said that Maduro is out of excuses, pointing out that the day after the referendum, the economic and social problems facing Venezuelans remain unchanged. Geral, Bryan, The Evening News.
On Sunday evening, the same day as Venezuela's controversial December 3 referendum, Guyana held its night of patriotic reflection, during which President Dr. A Finali made it clear that Guyana has always been and will continue to be on the right side of truth and honesty when it comes to the border controversy. Here is Geral, Bryan again with the details.
On Sunday, the Night of Reflection concert was held at the Guyana National Stadium, during which President Dr. A Finali reinforced the support Guyana has from the international community. President Ali expressed pride that Guyana was on the right side of truth and honesty in the border controversy, in sharp contrast to Venezuela's position.
Today, I am proud that in every single corner of the world, Guyana has found itself on the right side of truth and honesty when it comes to this controversy. That is why we are gaining more and more support from every corner of the world, and every single leader that is respectable and honorable. They're all calling on Venezuela to act responsibly, to respect the rule of law, and to respect themselves.
The president urged Venezuela to behave as a responsible nation. He noted that while Guyana has no intention of disrupting the peace in the region, it will not let anyone disrupt the peace Guyana itself has.
We have a responsibility as Guyanese. As your president, I have a responsibility to show leadership. We have a responsibility today as Guyanese to show that we can resolve conflict and we can create our own. We can create our own method through which we ensure that peace remains within this region. Guyana would do nothing to disrupt the peace within this region. At the same time, Guyana would do everything if anyone tried to disrupt the peace we enjoy here.
Further, President Ali made it clear that Guyana will not be caught off guard, but rather will do everything in its power to protect its border.
We are not going to be caught off guard. We will do everything within the confines of international law. We will do everything within the confines of human dignity to protect what is ours, to protect our borders, to protect Essequibo. I assure you of this.
Also speaking at the Night of Reflection was Prime Minister retired Brigadier Mark Phillips, as Guyanese performers including Dave Martins, Abel Stokes and Vanilla serenaded the audience.
We strive to to build a new Guyana, great and free, a land of glory and of hope, a land of love and unity. Oh, children of Guyana, rise, rise up and sing with happy tears, and bless the land that gave you birth, and vow to serve through the years.
Geral Bryan, The Evening News.
In a defining moment for Guyana's agricultural landscape in Region 2, President Dr. A Finali on Sunday turned the sod for a $200 million shade house facility to bolster food security in the region. More in this Rupacina Ryan report.
This spanking new $200 million facility, which is slated to be completed by February 2024, was launched in the compound of the Guyana School of Agriculture. The hydroponic shade house mirrors the one in Monrepo on the east coast of Demerara. President Dr. A Finali outlined the facility's focus on high-value crops such as lettuce, bell peppers, tomatoes, celery, kale, and pak choy, destined not just for Essequibo's market but for the broader hospitality industry. With meticulous planning encompassing diverse sections for vegetables, nurseries, intercropping, and tertiary development, President Ali illustrated the potential production impact of the project.
Part of the purpose here is to ensure that we have crops that can go into the expanding hospitality sector. So you'll have more than 25,000 square foot in vegetables, more than close to 10,000 square foot to cater for nursery, and then you will have another maybe 5,000 square foot for intercropping and research and development, because that is an important part of what we have to do too, research and development.
It is proposed that a staggering 40,000 pounds of lettuce will be produced per year, generating approximately $100 million in revenue, and 3,000 pounds of bell peppers with an estimated revenue nearing $4.8 million. There is also the anticipation of 3 annual tomato harvests, reaching close to 12,000 pounds. The head of state also spoke about the second phase of the project, which will focus on livestock.
We'll bring the best breed here so that we can create a new generation of livestock that is stronger, more resilient, and livestock that gives us more results. High yield in milk, high yield in meat production. So that will be another feature in the second phase of this facility.
Beyond financial prospects, this venture promises substantial employment opportunities for over 200 residents in the initial phase and a commitment to train an additional 200 young people as agrotech entrepreneurs, amplifying Essequibo's self-reliance and sustainability. Rupacina Ryan, The Evening News.
A freshwater prawns project at Onverwac to West Coast BERBICE, Region 5, is expected to go into operation before the end of the year. Andrew Carmichael reports.
Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa, who visited the freshwater pond project at Onverwac, West Coast BERBICE on Saturday, says it will significantly boost the agriculture sector. 10 ponds are currently being constructed, each about 1 acre in size.
By Monday, the lining of the pond will start, and after that, we should have water with the larvae in it. These are prawns attract a very good price. For example, the production here for the year might be roughly about 50 tons of prawns. And a ton of prawns now is $15,000 US. So you can see the amount, roughly about $750,000, one crop of prawns.
It is expected that there will be 3 crops per year, which will net a whopping $2.2 million US annually from the 10 ponds. According to Mustafa, his ministry is trying to build a world-class industry, noting that Ecuador and Vietnam, among other countries, are producing huge quantities of freshwater prawns.
These are in demand, especially in North America and the Caribbean. So I'm hoping that we can replicate this across the country. As the President rightly said, that we are not only going in the traditional area, but we are going into the non-traditional area now. It's important that works are ongoing here, and this shows our resilience, this shows our vision in improving the agriculture sector, reducing the food import bill, to contribute to further to 25 by 2025, reducing food import bill.
Meanwhile, the ministry is also working with Barbados to start a similar prawns project. Several officers from Guyana have already gone to that country.
They call it the brown pond in Barbados, and they are doing similarly like this here, but they are doing the brackish water shrimp, where they are bringing in salt water and they have the fresh water mixing together. They are doing the brackish water shrimp that we are now doing on the quarantine. You know, we have increased production here by almost 800% on the quarantine coast.
Production of brackish water shrimp on the quarantine moved from 10,000 kilograms in 2020 to 90,000 kilograms last year. Mustafa says the aim is to push production up to 150,000 kilograms. As it relates to the freshwater prawns project, the ministry is planning to set up its own hatchery and to develop its own feed mill. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
Coming up, tomb raiders target grave of murdered quarantine man and Venezuelan charged for beheading BERBICE man. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Are you a business owner? Your expertise is vital to the success of our economy. As a leader in your industry, we invite you to participate in the 2023 National Economic Survey from the Bureau of Statistics. By law, your participation is required. However, it is also an opportunity to share insights that will directly inform key economic policies and future business opportunities. The survey process is simple and guided every step of the way by our knowledgeable data collectors. They will work with you to capture the data that matters efficiently and accurately.
Your insights inform our nation. The 2023 National Economic Survey gives you the power to shape Guyana's economic future. By sharing your expertise, we are able to gather data so that you can make wise investment decisions, anticipate changes in consumer behavior, understand GDP trends to manage risk efficiently, and gain competitive insight for your long-term planning. This legally required survey is confidential. Your data is protected by the Statistics Act, and any information identifying your individual business cannot be shared or used for other purposes, such as taxation. This is your chance to be heard and make a difference.
The National Economic Survey 2023.
Shape tomorrow's economy.
Your participation matters.
Giving you the best Christmas with Digital. This Christmas, it's all about the best. Digicel is bringing you the best deals, the best prices, and the best cash prizes. Get half off and a whopping 50 gigs of data when you purchase the Samsung A04 for just $14,000, the Samsung A14 for just $29,000, or the Samsung A24 for just $35,000. That's right, half off and 50 gigs of data. It doesn't get any better than this. So why wait? This Christmas, buy nothing but the best. Offer good while stocks last.
Premier insurance coverage for less. Stay safe.
On the job, you know how it goes. 1 minute everything's going right and the next something goes wrong. Don't worry, Premier Insurance will make things right again. For all risks insurance, call 223-0840 or visit premierinsurance.gy. Fuel your success. Premier Insurance coverage.
Giving you the best Christmas with Digital.
Digicel is bringing you the best deals, the best prices, and the best cash prizes. Hold on to your Santa hats because there's up to $50 million in cash to be won. Activate any data plan and you can be one of 14 winners to join Digicel's Spin to Win game show, where you can win millions in cash. Activate a data plan today on the best network and make this Christmas the best one yet.
Digital.
Guyanese women from across the country are being empowered to take advantage of the many opportunities presented by the oil and gas industry. Entrepreneurial, leadership, procurement, and management are some of the training programs that women continue to have access to through the Center for Local Business Development and workshops hosted by companies in the industry. As oil production increases, so will these opportunities for Guyanese women.
Welcome back. You're watching the evening news. Two murders this morning targeted the grave of 29-year-old Ramanand Mingo, formerly of Clifton Village, Corentyne, Berbice. Mingo was on November 19 stabbed to death and was only recently laid to rest. Relatives say they received a phone call this morning informing them of the desecration of the tomb situated in the Babujan Cemetery. The top of the concrete tomb was broken and a part of the casket was pulled off. According to relatives who spoke with this newscast, nothing of value seems to have been removed, but investigations are ongoing. 30-year-old Andrew Sikobin, a construction worker, has since been charged with the murder of Mingo. Mingo was stabbed to death at a sports bar located at Clifton Village, where the suspect also resided. We now tell you that it has been almost 3 weeks since fishing vessel Asea 1 and crew went missing, and in its desperate attempt to locate the men safely, the Guyana Defense Force has escalated its daily sea patrols and other efforts. At the same time, families are clinging to hope that they will soon hear word of their loved ones returning home safely. Rupasina Ryan has the details.
The 4-man crew were reported missing on November 16, 2023. The missing men are Vikram Singh, Warren Yipsam, Hazrat Razak, and Cecil Persad. According to the Coast Guard on Monday, operations have been concentrated within Guyana's maritime space, spanning from the Demerara River to the Waini River mouth, covering the maritime boundary in the northwest region. To date, the vessel patrols have covered an extensive area, a little over 9,000 square nautical miles. Speaking with the media, their families are calling on authorities to step up and offer support for their safe return, stressing that it has been 18 days since the men left for sea.
Night and day was done in my son, night and day. You're the only one who give me something. You walking away. You're the breadwinner for me. Well, like I got to look for a job because me know what me do. Open prayer life.
Tell me the boat to the massage and then I find them. So me don't know where them there. Them say the massage every day, the massage. Me don't know where the massage. Then I tell me nothing. You know what me know. There is one of my brother coming outside. The only two brothers me get. And me alone. Me don't know nothing much. Come on, my son, them go home.
We're asking the government right now to help because we've been trying on our own and with the Coast Guard, and it's not enough. And we want them to look into the matter more seriously if they could get assistance from the other countries close by, or if they could assist with a vessel that we could get our own people to go out again. We have people willing to go out to search because we're not going to stop searching until we find them or know something.
It was reported that the men would have received a distress call on November 16th via radio through ExxonMobil from their colleagues who had gone out to sea since November 5th. The men subsequently boarded a small boat with a battery and alternator, which were needed to fix the bigger boat. However, the vessel, which had encountered mechanical issues, returned to shore without the 4 men. Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
A Venezuelan national was today remanded for allegedly beheading a Corentyne laborer last week. Andrew Carmichael brings us the details.
Simon Wills, a 28-year-old Venezuelan national, appeared before Magistrate Peter Yu at the New Amsterdam Magistrates Court on Monday, where he was not required to plead to the indictable charge of murder. The charge states that between November 25th and 30th at Firish Village, Corentyne, he murdered Chetram Ramjatan, called Buck Crab. The foreigner was unrepresented when he appeared in court. Police prosecutor Videsh Jatan told the court that the police had not completed the file case and asked for a further 3 weeks to have this done. As such, Wills was remanded and will have to return to court on December 27 for a police progress report. It had been reported that days after Ramjatan went missing, his lifeless body was discovered in a drain situated near a house, which was occupied by several Venezuelan nationals. Police later found the man's body inside of the house. The discovery was made last Thursday. The dead man's sister had told Evening News that she last saw her brother on Saturday, November 25th, when he had visited her at her home. She explained that on that day her brother left her house to go to their other sibling and was going to return, but he never did. After the discovery of the body was made, she went to the funeral parlor where she was told that the body had several stab wounds.
Head cut out, and stab him up his stomach and chop up his face.
An autopsy performed on the body by government pathologist Dr. Vivekanand Brijmohan on Friday suggests that Ramjatan was killed before being beheaded. The autopsy report indicates that he died as a result of a fractured skull and blunt trauma to the head. Ramjatan was a 43-year-old laborer who lived alone at Kilcoy Settlement, Corentyne, Berbice. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
A teenager is now dead after a minibus he was allegedly driving turned turtle along the East Coast Berbice Highway on Sunday. Police claim that the teenager was the driver at the time of the crash. However, in this Andrew Carmichael report, we hear that other reports suggest that someone else was behind the wheel.
The dead man has been identified as 18-year-old Marvin Ishmael of Betsy Ground, East Kanji. The accident occurred at Bolem along the East Coast Berbice Highway on Sunday. According to the police, the crash occurred at about 18 hours 50 and involved a minibus owned by Dionot Moses called Chinnick, a businessman of Betsy Ground Village. The police say Ishmael was the driver and there was one other person in the vehicle at the time, 60-year-old Rai Badri of Betsy Ground. According to the deceased father, Shalim Ishmael, he was told that his son was driving but noted that there were two other persons in the vehicle at the time, one being his son's cousin and the other his uncle. Others who arrived on the scene moments after the crash say the businessman's son was the one who was in the driver's seat. Though it was a bus involved in the accident, police's statement on the matter refers to the vehicle as a motor car. They said the vehicle was proceeding west along the southern drive lane of the said road, allegedly at a fast rate of speed, when the driver lost control and collided with a heap of sand on the southern side of the road, which caused the vehicle to topple several times and ended up on the southern side of the road. The police say both the driver and the occupant were taken out of the said vehicle by public-spirited citizens. The driver was in an unconscious condition and taken to the New Amsterdam Public Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. The occupant was treated and later sent away. However, there are reports that there was a third person in the vehicle, but the police's official statement made no mention of this. There are reports that the minibus was seen earlier at the number 63 beach, and while driving along the Corentyne highway, there was loud music coming from the bus. The now dead teen's father spoke with the Evening News.
He left to go work and just a phone call called me that he ended up with an accident and that's it. He left from Guyana to the hospital.
When you did the hospital, you saw?
I saw it there.
What injury, if any, you saw?
He had concussion.
According to the 47-year-old father, his son worked with a businessman who is also a relative. He said as far as he knows, they were constructing a road somewhere on the Corentyne and he thought his son was at work.
He was a long good kid, very long. Never was a bad kid, really loving. Always smile with everybody, laugh with everybody, cheer, everything. Don't like people for punish.
Police say the investigation is continuing. Ishmael leaves to mourn his parents and 2 siblings. For the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Damara Harbour Bridge is scheduled to be closed to vehicular traffic on Tuesday, December 5, 2023 at 22 hours 30 for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the BERBICE Bridge is expected to be closed at 11 hours on Tuesday, December 5, 2023, also for a period of 1.5 hours.
Lady Jags seals Women's Gold Cup prelim spot after a 3-0 win, and Chase's Academy crowned Lima Call football champions. Details of these stories and more in the Sportcast, sponsored by MacCorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
John Lewis Styles has opened a new department, now offering home goods. Here you can find quality sheets and towels, pillows, blankets, and even bath mats and shower curtains. Organize your laundry with clothes baskets, fabric steamers, irons, and ironing boards. For the kitchen we have small appliances, towels and mittens, pot sets and dinner sets too. Decorate the house with mirrors, picture frames, floating shelves, and decorative pillows. All these and more on Waterloo Street. It's fashion for the home. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Contractors, available at Sylvie's are Karcher push sweepers, equipped with dual bristles. These push-powered machines can cover over 32,000 square feet per hour, collecting sand, dust, and particles from roadways and project sites. Save time, use less labor, and earn more. Order yours now at sylviesonline.com or at our 31 High and Hatfield Streets or Lot 90, East Henrietta, Essequibo Coast location.
Are you a business owner? Your expertise is vital to the success of our economy. As a leader in your industry, we invite you to participate in the 2023 National Economic Survey from the Bureau of Statistics. By law, your participation is required. However, it is also an opportunity to share insights that will directly inform key economic policies and future business opportunities. The survey process is simple and guided every step of the way by our knowledgeable data collectors. They will work with you to capture the data that matters efficiently and accurately.
Your insights inform our nation. The 2023 National Economic Survey gives you the power to shape Guyana's economic future. By sharing your expertise, we are able to gather data so that you can make wise investment decisions, anticipate changes in consumer behavior, understand GDP trends to manage risk efficiently, and gain competitive insight for your long-term planning. This legally required survey is confidential. Your data is protected by the Statistics Act, and any information identifying your individual business cannot be shared or used for other purposes, such as taxation. This is your chance to be heard and make a difference.
The National Economic Survey 2023.
Shape tomorrow's economy.
Your participation matters.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.
Superbet, your best bet. With many agents countrywide,
Our products are easily accessible. Visit an agent nearest to you to play your favorite games. Must be 18 years and older. Terms and conditions apply. Play responsibly.